Welcome back to Dolce Velvet. This is Angela, and I'm here to tell you a story that was created especially for you. But it's a real life story. It is nonfiction of the highest order. But before we jump in, I'd like to introduce to you a very, very special guest. Meet Misha Mikhailovsky. Yes, Misha. He's a polar bear. See his fluffy fur? He's all soft. And he is my props guy today. He has been sitting here while I collected all the things I wanted to share with you. He is like a marshmallow, velvety soft. And the other thing I want to share with you really quickly is a poem that I thought of when I was designing up this little story. I bet many of you have heard it. All for the want of a horseshoe nail. So, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the horse was for want of the battle, the war was lost. For want of the war, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. Now, this is the story of the want of a screw. So, see that stool over there, right across from me? We have two of them. I'm sitting on one, and you are looking at the other one. About 8 months ago, I was sitting there. It's where I used to work from home in my old job. This was right before COVID came to call. So once upon a time, I was sitting in my little stool, working away, and I heard a little popping sound, and something dropped, and I thought, what is that? What could it be? Well, then the stool started making the strangest of noises. It was being very loud, and it was very exasperating. So, of course, I had to go over there and check what was going on. So, here's the old stool. This is what it does. Kind of a puzzle. Kind of a puzzle. So I thought, oh no, that won't do. Whatever shall we do? So, apartment dweller that I am, I called our super, and he came upstairs and took a look at the stool. Now, Mr. Lenny is a great super. He is from Ukraine, and he is very trustworthy and very kind. And he took a look and rattled that stool and rattled it some more, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. He had no idea. And that was the first time in my close to 4 years of knowing him that I've ever seen him at a loss. So I thought, oh my. Well, finally, I was able to determine that one of the screws was missing. And unfortunately, the thing that had made the little ping, pinging sound was the screw. Well, somehow that screw had gotten lost. And I thought, okay, so we need a new one. But this was during COVID times. So a new screw wasn't really an option. Well, finally, COVID lessened its hold on South Brooklyn. So I said, all right, let's come up with a new screw. Well, we tried to locate, first we tried to measure the existing screw. That wasn't easy because we couldn't get it unscrewed. Thank you, Misha. When we tried to unscrew it, we first used this thing. See? A little hammer / screwdriver that we hoped would allow us to unscrew the screw. It's a very convenient tool, but it didn't work. The head or the thing that you use, I am not a construction person, the thing that you use to do the screw was the wrong size, too big. So then we got the real screwdriver. You've all seen one of those. Not most interesting, but anyway, it didn't work either. So we couldn't measure the screw until we finally got a third screwdriver, got the thing unscrewed, and got it measured. So then, here we are. It's Wednesday afternoon, and we're trying to get a new screw. So Kenya, who is my assistant and a very lovely and capable human being, decided she would go try to forage for a new screw. So she gets on the train and she goes to the hardware store, the regular hardware store that we have in one neighborhood over in Sheepshead Bay. And they said, "Ma'am, this is not an American screw. We don't know what kind of screw this is, but the threading is off. We don't have one like this. We think the screw was custom made." So they sent her to a different shop, a very legitimate hardware store, a lot like Home Depot or Lowe's. So Kenya gets on the train and someone pulls the emergency brake, or that's what seemed to have happened. So she stops, gets stuck. No one could leave the train for a good 30 minutes. Well, finally, a couple very, very strong passengers, one Russian gentleman and another couple of guys who, all of them were construction folks, forced the train door open. And so Kenya, like most passengers on the train, bolted out of there, ran to the hardware store, and got some new screws. But by the time she got back to try them out, well, the sun was going down, it was the end of the day, and it turned out that they didn't fit either. Oh boy. So then we thought, what are we going to do? I mean, we don't want our stool to come loose. So Kenya found in our toolbox these. Now, they're the right width, but the wrong length. Too long. These two screws were just too long for our stool. However, she took the screwdriver, our little tool, and managed to screw one like this into the stool. And although it's not a perfect fit, it would do, we decided, for the moment. And so that stool over there is safe and sound, just like you are now, until it gets exactly the right screw, which is going to need to be courtesy of Target Incorporated. So eventually we will call them up on the telephone and they will create exactly the screw we need. But in the meantime, we're okay, the stool's okay, and after listening to this very detailed, very day-to-day little story, I hope you too are going to feel okay and know that you're welcome and safe in our home, in our dinette, to share our daily little tribulations with us. And that is the tale of the missing screw. The end, and good night.